The Sikh tradition began 500 years ago in the Punjab region of South Asia, now divided between India and Pakistan. This beginning is firmly tied to Nanak, born in 1469 Common Era and referred to as Guru Nanak by his followers. Sikh means disciple or student or learner, while Guru in this context means spiritual teacher or spiritual guide. In his lifetime, Nanak composed hundreds of poetic verses containing spiritual and ethical guidance. These were written down and have been reliably preserved, now forming part of the core Sikh sacred text referred to by followers as the Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Nanak spent about 2 decades of his adult life traveling widely in South Asia, singing his verses and attracting followers. Thereafter, he settled in a place called Kartarpur, where he was at the center of a nascent community of Sikhs for another 2 decades. The legacy of his travels was a multiplicity of smaller communities of Sikhs spread across the region. These were Sangats, fellowships or congregations of Sikhs. Sangats likely had their own leaders called Sangatiya, though there is no evidence of a formal institutional structure. The teachings of Nanak, which included guidance for daily living, likely provided some common structure for these Sangats. Guru Nanak formally appointed one of his disciples as successor, with the name of Angad, and handed a volume of his verses to him as one of the markers of succession. The spirit of Nanak was also considered to have transferred to Angad, and he would use the signature Nanak as Guru. Guru Angad was challenged by Nanak's sons, and so he moved the community's center to Khadur, 50 miles away. Guru Angad appointed Amar Das as his successor, the third Nanak. Challenged by Guru Angad's sons, Guru Amar Das also had to move, but this was to Goindwal, only 5 or 6 miles away. This was only a little over a decade after Guru Angad's own succession. Guru Amar Das oversaw a significant expansion of the community or Panth, often then called the Nanak Panth or Gurmukh Panth, though the terms Sikh and Gursikh were also in use. Guru Amar Das added his own verses to the collection of his predecessors, and also included a selection of verses of earlier Bhakts or in Punjabi Bhagats, such as Namdev, Ravidas, and Kabir. This clearly marked the development of a formal Sikh canon. Guru Amar Das had a step well dug at Goindwal to add to the location's symbolic meaning and to provide water for increasing numbers of visiting devotees. Importantly, the hierarchy of authority of the Sangat structure was formalized through the creation of manjis, each in a population center with a strong Sikh presence, mostly in the Punjab region, but also a few more far-flung sites. The tradition is that there were 22 manjis, and lists of the names of some of their leaders have been reconstructed. A manji is literally a rope cot, and the Sangtiya or Manjidar would sit on it when acting as the local representative and authority of the Guru. It is possible that a few of the Manjidars were women, and there was definitely social diversity among these delegated authority figures. The Manjidars or Sangtiya possibly went to meet the Guru twice a year, transmitting offerings from their congregations and bringing back spiritual and practical guidance for the rest of the year. Under Guru Amar Das's successors, Guru Ramdas and Guru Arjan, the institution became even more formalized, and the delegated regional leaders were called Masands, from a Persian word for a seat one level below the throne. The Masands had similar duties, spreading the teachings of the Gurus, acting as their representatives for ceremonies, and transmitting offerings back to the Gurus. By the time of Guru Ramdas and Guru Arjan, the Sikh Panth was much larger and more prosperous, implying a greater role for the Masands. The Sikhs under Guru Ramdas and Guru Arjan received land revenue grants from the imperial Mughal authorities. The Gurus began building significant new towns in the region between Kartarpur and Goindwal. Trade was flourishing at this time, and this also benefited the growing Sikh community, which spread further as well as expanding at its core. Social diversity in the Sikh community also increased. Many who were marginalized under Brahmanism were attracted to this new Panth, as were some Muslims. By 1604, the Sikh community had a canonical text which was being copied and sent to other locations to serve the geographically dispersed followers. This volume conveyed the authenticated teachings of the Sikh Gurus. The Sikh movement's popularity and prosperity brought hostile attention from various sources, and Guru Arjan died at the hands of imperial officials in 1606. The next century was marked by conflicts over succession to the mantle of Guru, further conflicts with the imperial authorities, and interference by the Mughals in the affairs of the Sikh Panth. Guru Hargobind, Guru Arjan's son and appointed successor, faced serious challenges from his uncle and cousin, who aligned with Mughal authorities. The Guru declared a unified spiritual and temporal authority termed Miri Piri in Punjabi. The ninth Nanak, Guru Tegh Bahadur, was publicly executed in Delhi on the orders of the Mughal emperor. In this situation, many Masands abandoned allegiance to the Guru and sought to control Sikh sacred sites, especially those where economic advantages could be had. Guru Gobind, the 10th and last Nanak and the great-grandson of Guru Arjan, abolished the Masand system of tiered authority in 1698, after over a century of its existing in some form or the other. This was part of a recasting of the Sikh movement, including the creation of the Khalsa, and eventually the end of the human line of Gurus to be succeeded by the Guru Granth Sahib. The dominant Sikh ethos from the time of Guru Nanak has been the primacy of the canonical teachings of the Gurus, which are now considered the living Guru, the Guru Granth Sahib. The Khalsa, initiated Sikhs, represent a complementary embodiment of the Guru. Illustrating this complementarity, Guru Gobind was himself initiated by the first 5 members of the Khalsa. Practical considerations of authority have not disappeared, and human claimants to positions of spiritual authority are ever present in multiple contexts within the Sikh Panth. But the failure of the early model of institutional expansion under later stresses, and the response of Guru Gobind Singh to the existential threats to the Sikh community that were entangled with that failure, still influence Sikh discourse on authority and sovereignty.